Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nikodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, April 18th, 2023. And let's start the night off in the Empire State, because the New York State Department of Financial Services has adopted a new regulation. This regulation allows them to charge licensed crypto companies for the cost of regulating them. And for anybody who's about to get up in arms over this, don't. It's not an uncommon occurrence where the government sets apart a group of people to be regulated and then charges them for the service. It might seem weird, but it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. I mean, who else should pay the cost for the industry to exist? Now, this new regulation was adopted on April 17th, 2023. It allows the department to assess fees for the supervision and examination of crypto companies, specifically those operating in the state of New York with a BIT license. Now, a BIT license is a license that's required for companies that want to offer crypto-related services in New York, like trading, custody, and lending. And frankly, it's fairly difficult to get one. Now, the New York Department of Financial Services said that this new regulation will provide them with the additional tools and resources that they need to regulate the crypto industry. They say that the fees will be used to, quote, add top talent to its virtual currency team and to ensure that the department has the resources it needs to effectively regulate the cryptocurrency industry. This department is the first state financial regulator to adopt a regulation that allows it to charge crypto companies for the cost of regulating them. It has been met with mixed reactions from the crypto industry. Some companies have expressed support for the regulation, saying that it will help ensure that the crypto industry is properly regulated. Others have expressed concern about the fees, saying that they could be too high and could stifle innovation in the crypto industry. The department has said that it will work with the crypto companies to ensure that the fees are reasonable. Now, my feeling is this. As long as those fees are indeed reasonable, this seems like a pretty valid way to go. However, I do understand their concern. There aren't all that many companies that are licensed to work in this space, which means that there are fewer organizations left to split the bill, which might price some of those companies out of the market. It could also serve to prevent good projects from getting into the space because they cannot yet afford the fees. This new regulation is set to go in effect on July 1st of this year. And I do want to thank you for tuning into the podcast, and I'm going to ask you to like, follow, and subscribe to The Overnighter. It makes such a big difference in attracting attention to the show, so thank you. And that brings us to the first of our CBDC alerts, because Hong Kong is developing its own digital currency. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority is working with the banks to develop a central bank digital currency called the EHKD for Hong Kong dollar. The goal is to create a digital version of the Hong Kong dollar that can be used for everyday transactions. So this is a retail currency, not wholesale. And they are reportedly leaving the design of this new currency up to the banks, which is different from China, because the Chinese government is in charge of the design of the digital yuan. The Monetary Authority believes that letting the banks design the currency will allow for more innovation and flexibility. One major bank is considering developing EHKD on a permissioned blockchain. Now, a permissioned blockchain is a type of blockchain that's controlled by a group of known participants. This kind of blockchain may be more secure than a permissionless blockchain, which is open to anyone. Now, the security and privacy implications are still being debated. One of the concerns that people have is that the government could use this CBDC to track people's spending habits. Another concern is that it could itself be hacked. Now, anything could be a big change. At present, Hong Kong is a cash-heavy society. About 40% of all transactions in Hong Kong are still made in cash. So the introduction of a digital currency could help reduce the use of cash and make it easier for people to make payments. The Monetary Authority is expected to release more details about EHKD in the coming months. This said that they plan to launch a pilot program for the currency in the last half of this year. Now, meanwhile, the second of our CBDC alerts. This time is in Israel, because the Bank of Israel is preparing an action for the potential issuance of their own CBDC called Shaked. The bank is considering issuing a CBDC for several reasons, including preventing private companies from controlling the payment system, supporting competition in the payments system and in the financial system, and to prepare for the possibility that other countries like the United States or the European Union, that they will also issue CBDCs. I guess if one country jumps off a bridge, all the other countries are expected to do the same. Now, the bank is still monitoring the situation. They say that they have not yet made a final decision on a CBDC, but it is clear that the bank is taking the possibilities seriously. They seem to be planning for all eventualities. Now, their decision to consider issuing a CBDC is yet another sign. Crypto and digital assets are all growing in terms of public interest and popularity. And as these assets become more popular, central banks around the world will decide how to regulate them. The Bank of Israel's decision to prepare an action plan is an example of such a step. And keep in mind, there are also risks associated with issuing a CBDC. For one thing, it could turn out to be extremely unpopular. That's the situation happening right now in Nigeria. And it could lead to inflation. And just like fiat currency, it could be used for illegal activities. The Bank of Israel will need to carefully consider these risks before making a final decision. Now, if there's any good to be found in this, it's pretty small. I guess it shows the bank is taking the future of money seriously and is preparing for a world where cryptocurrencies and digital assets are more commonplace, but that doesn't make me feel any better. And we touched on this story a bit last night, but I feel the need to revisit it and add some more detail. Now, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission has charged the cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex with operating an unregistered national securities exchange, broker, and clearing agency. Now, the SEC also charged the co-founder and former CEO William Shahara and Bittrex Global. Bittrex Global is a foreign affiliate of Bittrex. The SEC alleges that both Bittrex and Shahara violated securities laws, that they did so by operating an unregistered exchange as well as failing to register as a broker, dealer, and clearing agency. The SEC also alleges that Bittrex and Shahara worked with crypto issuers to delete problematic statements from their websites and their social media accounts. The SEC is looking for disgorgement, penalties, and permanent injunctions against all three. For their part, Bittrex has denied the allegations. They said that they will vigorously defend themselves against the SEC. These charges are the latest in a series of actions against the cryptocurrency industry. In recent months, the SEC has also charged Kraken, BlockFi, and Poloniex for violating securities laws. They are a sign of the agency's increasing focus on regulating the industry. That said, they have been met with mixed reactions from the crypto industry. Some have criticized the SEC for its aggressive approach to regulation. Others have said that the SEC is simply trying to protect investors. It remains to be seen how the SEC's actions will impact the industry. However, it is clear that the SEC is taking a more active role. But there may be some challenges in reconciling that active role with past actions. I say that because Gensler stands accused of hypocrisy, and not for the first time. This after he praised Algorand in 2019. But his presence on that video didn't stop him from suing Bittrex for selling Algorand tokens as if they were securities. So in this video, Gensler, who was then a professor at MIT, he said that Algorand founder Silvio Macaulay has, quote, a great technology, the best performance, you could create Uber on top of it. Now, this is the same guy that, in the lawsuit filed on Monday, accused Bittrex of selling Algorand tokens as securities without registering with the SEC. The SEC said that Algorand tokens are securities because they're investments in the success of the Algorand blockchain. His actions are clearly hypocritical, but that did not prevent him from trying to explain. Now, Gensler said that the SEC is simply enforcing the law. He said that the SEC has a responsibility to protect investors from fraud, and that it does not matter whether the technology is good or bad. So the SEC's lawsuit against Bittrex is still pending. It's not clear how the court's going to rule yet. So what do you think of Gensler's actions? Is he being hypocritical, or is he simply enforcing the law? Or worse, maybe he's driving business away. And maybe that's intentional. Here's why I say that. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said that they could end up leaving the United States. That is, if the regulatory environment does not become much clearer. He said that the US has the potential to be an important market for crypto. He also said that the current regulatory uncertainty is making it difficult for Coinbase to operate. Now, Armstrong's comments come after Bittrex' problems with the SEC. Now, Bittrex got their Wells notice from the SEC in March, which is a statement that the SEC has found evidence of legal violations. It means you better lawyer up. So Armstrong compared the UK regulatory environment to the US. He said that the UK has a single regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority, and they are responsible for both commodities and securities. Now, in the US, there are two separate regulators, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities Exchange Commission. Armstrong said that a lack of a single regulator in the US is causing confusion and uncertainty for businesses. He said that he would like to see a clear rule book for the crypto industry so that businesses can operate without fear of regulatory scrutiny. Coinbase has been a vocal critic of the SEC's approach to regulating crypto. In March, Coinbase received their own Wells notice. Armstrong said that Coinbase had met with the SEC 30 times before receiving their Wells notice, but that the SEC had not given Coinbase any clear guidance on how to operate. Armstrong said that the SEC's approach to regulating crypto is too broad and that it's treating all crypto companies as if they're securities firms. He said that that's unfair to crypto companies that are not securities firms and that it's stifling innovation in the industry. He said that Coinbase is committed to operating in the US, but that it will have to consider moving its operations elsewhere if the regulatory environment does not improve. He said that Coinbase is a global company and that it has the ability to operate anywhere in the world. His comments are a sign of the growing frustration that many crypto companies are beginning to feel with the SEC's approach. It remains to be seen whether the SEC is going to change their approach in the future, but for now, it looks like Coinbase and the other crypto companies are prepared to move their operations elsewhere if they can't get the regulatory clarity that they need to operate in the US. Which brings us to our cover story for the night, which asks, could a move already be in the works? Because Coinbase has said that the UK could become a global leader in the Web3 economy. And we know that Armstrong is a fan of how they regulate both commodities and securities in one office. These comments came at a London FinTech conference on April 18th. Armstrong said that the UK has the potential to be a hub for innovation for the Web3 economy because of its strong financial sector, its history of innovation, and its commitment to free markets. Armstrong also called on the UK government to create a more favorable regulatory environment for crypto businesses. He said that the current regulatory environment is, quote, too restrictive, that it's holding back innovation. The UK government is taking steps to address Armstrong's concerns. In February, the Treasury announced plans to revive the Asset Management Task Force, which will work with the private sector to develop crypto regulation. So, what do you think? Is Coinbase looking for a move to the UK? Or will something be done to rein in Gensler's clear overreach? Let me know in the comments down below. And from here, let's take a look at the land of the rising sun. Because the Ripple-based payment system MoneyTap is growing in Japan. SBI Remit is the remittance-focused arm of the Japanese financial services conglomerate SBI Holdings. And they have added support for their mobile MoneyTap application to 3 local banks. And so this integration enables Japanese regional banks to offer a peer-to-peer remittance service to their customers, all through a mobile application, as well as online identity verification and biometric authentication. The intent is to ensure a high level of security for their customers. MoneyTap is based on Ripple's blockchain solution, RippleNet. It was launched in October of 2018. Now, initially, it only supported 3 Japanese banks, so that has now doubled the number to 6. In September of 2022, SBI Remit merged with MoneyTap. This allowed SBI Remit to provide a next-generation financial infrastructure with high functionality and low cost. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating, maybe a review. And in the meantime, we will see you tomorrow night.